Welcome to the Odysseys Unlimited and Traveling Owls webinar. My name is Shannon Burnett, and I'm the Assistant Director with Alumni Programs in charge of the Traveling Owls portfolio. I will be here to answer any Rice or Traveling Owls specific questions, but I really hope that you guys take this time to hear from Kate and Odysseys Unlimited on their trips and their company. Before I turn it over to her, I do want to provide some friendly reminders for our Zoom platform. So we're using the Zoom meeting platform, which means you're welcome to turn your video off while Kate presents. And then once we get to the Q&A at the end, we'd love for you to turn that video back on so we can have more of a dialogue for the Q&A, but that's not a requirement. We do ask that you mute your audio though when you are not talking to cut out any excess background noise. Kate is going to give an overview of her 2021 Traveling Owls trips with Odysseys Unlimited and then leave time for questions at the end. If you have any questions that pop up while she's presenting, you're welcome to put those in the chat and I'll be monitoring that to make sure that we can loop back around and get those answers for you. And then afterwards, when it is time for the Q&A portion, you're welcome to put your questions in the chat or take yourself off of mute and ask them out loud. And now, I think that's all of the etiquette I have for Zoom. I'd like to introduce Kate Hallman from Odysseys Unlimited. Since 2016, Kate has been a manager for special interest groups at Odysseys Unlimited Incorporated, and prior to joining the team, she worked at the University of Chicago as the Associate Director of Travel and Education and Alumni Relations and Development. And her work experience includes more than 20 years of managing projects, including international initiatives. And I'm going to toss it over to you, Kate.
Thank you so much, Shannon, for the introduction and the opportunity to be here today virtually. Well, I wish I could be there in person, although I am glad I would have dodged Laura. I am glad we can at least meet in this way. If we can't travel the world right now, at least we can talk about traveling the world. So I'm very excited to be here today and to provide a brief overview of the 4 trips we will be partnering with Rice on in 2021. But before I begin to speak about the trips we'll be offering next year, I wanted to provide some information regarding Odysseys Unlimited for those of you who have not yet traveled with us. Odysseys has been in business for 22 years. We are very excited to begin our 11th year of partnering with Rice University. And I am sorry about that. I am waiting for my screen to respond. There we go. Sorry about that. From this list, I wanted to highlight 2 distinguishing features regarding our programs. We design and operate our tours specifically for small groups of just 12 to 24 guests, which allows tours to move with more flexibility and efficiency. Our trips with Rice are exclusive departures for the Traveling Owls only. Most of our tour directors are nationals from the countries you will visit and rank among the best in the business. You will not only learn about the sites you visit and the history of the countries on tour, but you will also gain insight into the day-to-day life of the places you are traveling to. The first tour next year we are offering with the Traveling Owls is Pearls of Dalmatia, which runs from May 31st to June 14th. The tour's name Dalmatia refers to the Roman name for the region of Croatia. This 15-day program begins in Zagreb, Croatia, where we spend 2 nights. Next, we depart for Ljubljana, Slovenia, which is approximately a 2-hour drive. All touring on this program is via motor coach and ferry, with the longest drive time of 4.5 hours, but most are closer to 2 hours. We stay in the capital of Slovenia for 2 nights and then travel on to Opatija, with a stop along the way at Postojna Cave. We tour the region around Opatija for 2 days and then have a 1-night stay in Trogir, where we tour the UNESCO site of Plitvice Lakes National Parks. Then we board a ferry for a 2-hour cruise to the island of Hvar, where we spend 2 nights before arriving at our final stop on tour, Dubrovnik. Our hotel in Zagreb is the Amadria Park Hotel Capitol, which is located in the heart of the city in a former bank building from the 1920s. This stylish hotel reflects both the Art Deco and Art Nouveau periods. We spend 2 nights in Croatia's capital and the largest city of Zagreb. And our sightseeing in Zagreb includes the Old Town, and pictured here, St. Stephen's Cathedral on the right and the impressive Mirogoj Park Cemetery on the left. While in Zagreb, we also visit the colorful open-air Dolac market and have a free afternoon to explore the city on our own. On day 4 of the journey, we depart in the morning via motor coach for Ljubljana and cross into Slovenia. We arrive at our hotel, the U Hotel Ljubljana, which is centrally located to allow for exploration of this charming city. Those looking to relax at the hotel may enjoy the indoor pool or rooftop terrace with views of the castle. During our 2-night stay in Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, we tour the historic city center as well as Ljubljana Castle, accessed via funicular. We discover a friendly mid-sized city of romantic bridges like the Triple Bridge and buildings, ornate facades, and also pedestrian zones and abundant parkland. The following day, we take a half-day excursion less than an hour away to the popular resort town of Bled and its namesake Lake Bled. We tour the medieval castle that overlooks the lake, then take a boat ride on the lake and disembark at Bled Island to visit the St. Marie Church. Upon our return from Lake Bled, we have a free afternoon to explore Ljubljana. En route to Opatija, Croatia, our next stop, we stop for a guided tour of the Pozotojna Caves. An electric train takes us deep within the caves where we can admire the otherworldly sights. We spend 3 nights at the pink-hued Hotel Millennia Opatija. On the one side of the hotel is a seafront promenade and Slatina Beach. On the opposite side is the Abbey of St. James. We explore the Opatija Riviera, the seaside resort where the Habsburg princes once vacationed. We have a full-day excursion to discover the Istrian Peninsula, first visiting the ancient port of Pula and its well-preserved Roman amphitheater, then the charming old Venetian port of Rovin, the blue pearl of the Adriatic. En route to our next stop, Trogir, we tour the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Plitvice Lakes National Park. Plitvice is known for its chain of 16 terrace lakes, joined by waterfalls with walkways winding around and across the water. Our hotel, the Trogir Palace, is a small property located on the island of Suvo, just a short walk across the bridge from Trogir's historic town center. Trogir is a historic town and harbor on the Adriatic coast. Its preserved old town is known for the mix of Renaissance, Baroque, and Romanesque buildings, and still has some of the medieval city walls left intact. On our way to Hvar, we tour Dalmatia's largest city, Split, including the massive 3rd century Diocletian's Palace, whose ruins form the historic heart of the old city. A 2-hour ferry cruise takes us to Hvar, where we spend 2 nights. Hvar is a strategically located Mediterranean island that has experienced centuries of invaders, including Greeks, Romans, Venetians, Turks, Austrians, and the French. The Adriana Hotel Hvar is located on the main promenade, facing the old city center and within sight of the yacht harbor and bay. It has spectacular views, a unique location, and a fantastic spot. Sightseeing in Hvar will cover both the lively Hvar town, where our hotel is located, along with Stari Grad, Old Town, on the northern side of the island. We also visit a local winery where the history of wine production dates back some 2,500 years to ancient Greek settlers. And finally, on to Dubrovnik, the final stop on this tour, where we stay for 3 nights at the Dubrovnik Palace Hotel. This hotel is located on a peninsula that is a 15-minute drive from the historic city center. Set on a cliffside with the Adriatic Sea below and the aromatic pine-covered Petka woods above, guests can enjoy amenities that include 4 swimming pools, tennis courts, a hotel beach, and walking, jogging trails throughout the woods. We take a walking tour of Dubrovnik, whose ancient walls are hundreds of years old and whose original ramparts and bastions date to the 12th and 13th centuries. In Dubrovnik, we tour the old city, including the 17th century Baroque cathedral pictured here, the treasury, and the Franciscan monastery with its 14th century pharmacy. We include a free day in Dubrovnik for on-your-own exploration. Our tour ends with a special dinner at the home of a local family outside the city. Our menu features produce from their garden, homemade olive oil, and local wine. There is a post-tour extension to Montenegro that is 4 days and 3 nights and includes extensive sightseeing as shown here. And food. Food is perhaps one of the best parts of the journey. So here are some photos of what we will sample on tour. Croatian cuisine is a combination of Mediterranean and Italian fare, seafood, grilled meats, pasta, olive oil, and heartier Eastern European foods such as meat with cream sauces, potatoes, rice, polenta, and dumplings. Croatia is also known for its wines, especially reds, as well as fruit-based spirits such as grappa and slivovica, a popular plum brandy, Locally brewed beer is also popular. Most Slovenian meals include seafood, sauerkraut, and sausage. Slovene cuisine is a combination of Austro-German, Italian, Croatian, and Hungarian influences. Slovenians are renowned for their white wines. And our next tour is Discovering Eastern Europe from August 24th to September 8th, 2021. Scheduled to join this tour is Professor Manka. Dr. Joseph Manka is a professor of art history at Rice University, where he has taught since 1989. He teaches European and American art and architectural history from the Renaissance to the 19th century. On this tour, you explore 4 distinct and different countries of Eastern and Central Europe. This is a 16-day program that begins in Warsaw, Poland. All touring on this program is via motor coach with drive times between 2 and 5 hours. After 2 nights in Warsaw, we depart for a 3-night stay in Krakow. Heading south from Poland, we travel through the snow-capped Tatra Mountains into Slovakia, where we stop for lunch, before heading on to Budapest, the capital of Hungary. We spend 3 nights in elegant Budapest, referred to as the Paris of the East, before traveling on to Vienna for another 3-night stay. And the final stop on this tour is Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. We begin our exploration of the rich culture of Eastern and Central Europe in Warsaw. While in Warsaw, we stay at the French-style Polonia Palace, which was opened more than 90 years ago. This conveniently located hotel preserves the unique characteristics of early 20th century architecture while incorporating many contemporary features. With over 85% of Warsaw destroyed in World War II, the city was rebuilt in the decades that followed, and we visit the faithfully rebuilt Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as well as the Warsaw Royal Castle, whose origins date back to the 13th century. While in Warsaw, we enjoy a private classical piano recital. We also tour the area of the former Jewish ghetto and the Jewish cemetery pictured here. We then journey south to Poland's second largest city and a major center of culture and education. Krakow survived World War II intact, leaving it with more historic buildings and monuments than anywhere else in the country. While in Krakow, we stay at the Hotel Podrosa, Krakow's oldest hotel, which is located in the center of Old Town. The neoclassical building's origins date back to the 14th century as a private home, and it became a hotel in the 17th century. In Krakow, we tour the historic area, including St. Mary's Church, Wawel Castle's royal chambers, the Wawel Cathedral, Old Town, and the main market square. While in Krakow, we also tour the Wieliczka salt mine, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that is a virtual underground city with galleries, lakes, chapels, and murals all carved from salt. The remainder of the day is free for independent exploration of Krakow. The next day, we travel outside the city to Auschwitz and Birkenau, the concentration camp that is now a museum witnessing the horrors of the Nazis' final solution, where more than 1 million people died, of which over 900,000 were Jews. Departing Poland, we lunch in Slovakia, driving through the snow-capped Tatra Mountains onto our destination of Budapest, the Hungarian capital. Our home for 3 nights is the Budapest Hilton, located in the Castle District of Buda. Budapest was previously 2 separate cities divided by the Danube River, Buda and Pest. Our hotel is a Gothic building that incorporates part of a 16th century Jesuit college and a 13th century monastery. The Danube features prominently in the history and culture of Budapest, and multiple bridges connect Buda and Pest sides of the city. Pictured here is one of the most famous, the Széchenyi Chain Bridge. Our touring in Budapest includes the Castle District, a visit to Matthias Church, and a stroll around Fisherman's Basin, pictured here, that has outstanding views of the Pest side of the city. We also tour Europe's largest synagogue, the Doheny Synagogue, built in the Moorish Revival architectural style. We depart Budapest by motor coach and travel to Vienna, the capital of Austria and the former imperial capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Our 2-night stay in Vienna is at the Vienna Plaza, which is located on the famous Ringstrasse opposite the Vienna Stock Exchange and within walking distance of the city center. In Vienna, we tour the ornate Opera House and Schönbrunn Palace, the main summer residence of the Habsburg rulers. While in Vienna, we also will attend a concert of classical music. We travel outside the city to tour Vienna Woods, visiting the medieval abbey, Heiligenkreuz, and the spa town, Baden. We depart Vienna for the final stop on tour, Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. Our hotel in Prague is the Grand Bohemia Praha, which is ideally located in the center of town, within walking distance of Old Town Square and Old Town Hall, and just minutes from Wenceslas Square. While in Prague, we will walk the iconic Charles Bridge, see Old Town with its famed astronomical clock, visit St. Vitus Cathedral while exploring the Castle District, including Prague Castle and the Royal Palace. And while in the Castle District, we will stroll along Golden Lane with its small, colorful artisan cottages. While in Prague, guests will have free time to explore on your own as well as tour the Jewish Quarter. This program has an on-your-own post-tour extension to Berlin that is 4 days and 3 nights, where you can explore this cosmopolitan German capital, a city of art, culture, and history. And once again, food. Here is a visual sampling of the dishes we will experience on tour. Polish food features a variety of spices and herbs, along with pickles, wild mushrooms, horseradish, and sour cream, which frequently appear in soups, sauces, and meat and fish entrees. Hungarian specialties include fish soups with pasta and the famous goulash stew, a dish packed with meat and vegetables and seasoned with paprika and other spices. Also popular are stuffed vegetables, sweet cakes, and pastries. Strongly influenced by Southeastern European cuisine, Austrian food features the well-known Wiener Schnitzel, boiled beef, and several types of smoked and cured pork. Many meals are created around rice, potatoes, and dumplings. This is a nation that loves cakes and puddings. There are more than 57 varieties of torte. Czech cuisine is similar to its neighbors' fare: Wiener Schnitzel pork, potato pancakes filled with herbs, dumplings, and sauerkraut. And moving on from Europe to a country where Europe and Asia meet, we are partnering with Rice to offer the program Legendary Turkey from September 10th to the 24th, 2021. Rice's Traveling Owls program launched its partnership with Odysseys Unlimited in 2010 with this tour, Legendary Turkey. This 15-day program explores the magnificent city of Istanbul, ancient ruins, beautiful landscapes, and the turquoise coast, where we board a privately chartered Gulet yacht for a 4-day voyage. We begin our journey in Istanbul, where we spend 4 nights in this historic city that straddles both continents, or I should say 2 continents. Departing Istanbul, we drive to the northern Aegean coast for a brief visit to Gallipoli before taking a ferry across the Dardanelles to Troy. That evening, we overnight in Azos. Before moving on to a 2-night stay in Izmir, we explore the spectacular Hellenistic ruins of Pergamum. From Izmir, we travel south to the coastal town of Gojak, where we board our Gulet yacht for a 4-night cruise along the turquoise coast. We disembark in Fethiye and motor coach through the Taurus Mountains for a final stay in Anatolia. We begin the tour in Istanbul, where we stay at the Hilton Istanbul Bosphorus, which overlooks the Bosphorus, and it's surrounded by gardens. Our hotel is located in the heart of the city's European side, with easy walking distance to shops and restaurants. We spend 3 days exploring in and around Istanbul and visit the lively pedestrian Istiklal Street, Kora Church, Rustam Pasha Mosque, the Spice Market, the Blue Mosque, the Museum of Turkish and Islamic Art, and the famed Hagia Sophia, the 6th century church that was Christendom's most important before becoming a mosque in the 15th century. We also enjoy a private cruise on the Bosphorus, the waterways that separates Europe from Asia. We tour Topkapi, once the home of the Ottoman sultans and today one of the world's best museums. We visit the Basilica Cistern, pictured here, the largest of several hundred ancient underground cisterns that provided water to Istanbul in antiquity. During our time in Istanbul, we visit the Grand Bazaar, one of the largest and oldest covered markets in the world. Guests also have an afternoon free for independent exploration. Departing Istanbul, we drive south via motor coach to the northern Aegean coast for a brief visit to the World War I battle site of Gallipoli. We then travel by ferry across the Dardanelles to tour what is believed to be the ancient city of Troy, and then continue on to our hotel in Azos. We spend 1 evening at the Nazilhan Hotel, a harborfront property located in a remote and dramatic Aegean setting. Our next stop on the journey is Izmir, where we spend 2 nights at the Swiss Hotel Grand Efes. Our hotel is centrally located in downtown Izmir, surrounded by landscape gardens overlooking the Aegean coast. The next 2 days are a feast for those who love the ancient world. First, we visit the Hellenistic ruins of Pergamum, and then explore Ephesus, one of the world's best preserved classic cities. Pictured here is the Library of Celsus. Our time at Ephesus includes a tour of the recently restored terrace houses as well. After Izmir, we drive south to Gojek, where we board our gulet yacht. A gulet is a wooden classic sailing vessel with 2 or 3 masts found on the southwestern coast of Turkey. These gulets are motorized sailing vessels built of teak wood and will be our home for the next 4 nights as we explore the turquoise coast. A large foredeck gives everyone ample space to sit and watch the Mediterranean coastline. In the evening, you may choose to stay up here and sleep under the stars or return to your private cabins, each equipped with a shower and toilet. Dinner each evening is outside on the deck under cover as the ship's cook prepares fresh meals. On board, you'll find swimming and snorkeling equipment, perfect for late afternoon dips after you've anchored for the day. Our route for the next few days is along the stunning coastline that Antony is said to have given Cleopatra as a wedding gift. Some of the sights we see on our excursions are the hidden cove of Aga Lumani, the Greco-Roman ruins at Lydia, the sunken baths of Cleopatra, the Dalian Channel with its rock-cut tombs, and the Lake of Kogas. We disembark and say goodbye to our gulets and set out by motor coach through the Taurus Mountains for Anatolia. Our hotel for the last leg of our journey is located just outside of Anatolia's city center. Our property, the Akra Baruk, is set on the Mediterranean, overlooking both the sea and the Taurus Mountains in the distance. Well, here we tour the Greek city of Perge, and in the afternoon, we tour the charming old town of Anatolia, including Hadrian's Gate. For those not continuing on to the post-tour extension, the next day we depart on an early flight for the US. This program has a 5-day, 4-night extension to Cappadocia and Konya. We will explore the ancient city of Konya and the bizarre rock formations and underground cities of Cappadocia. Turkish cuisine has a distinctly Mediterranean flavor. Lamb appears in shish kebab, doner kebab, and other dishes. Fresh fish and shellfish are also plentiful. Dolma, stuffed grape leaves, and eggplant are popular side dishes. Those with a sweet tooth will be happy here. Desserts include an array of fruit and nut pastries, often soaked in honey. Tea and the yogurt drink, ayran, strong Turkish coffee, Turkish beer, wine, and raki are served everywhere. And the final tour that Odysseys Unlimited is partnering with the Traveling Owls next year is Journey Through Vietnam, which runs from November 4th through the 18th. Experience Vietnam on this comprehensive 15-day program. We begin the tour in the north of the country in the city of Hanoi, where we stay for 3 nights before we fly to Da Nang, Vietnam's 3rd largest city, situated on the south central coast. Next up is Hue, the ancient imperial city, whose palaces, temples, and tombs evoke its past grandeur as home to emperors. After 2 nights in Hue, we take an early morning flight to Saigon. Upon arrival, we then drive for 3 hours to the Mekong Delta, where we stay for 2 nights. Our final stop on this tour is Saigon, also known as Ho Chi Minh City. Our Vietnamese journey begins in Hanoi, where we stay at the contemporary Intercontinental Hanoi West Lake. This property offers a tranquil resort atmosphere and is conveniently located just 15 minutes from the city center. We take a walking tour of Hanoi, including the Temple of Literature, pictured here, as well as Ba Ding Square, the presidential palace, the 1,000-year-old one-pillar pagoda, and the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. We tour the infamous Lao Prison, best known to Americans as Hanoi Hilton, and walk the narrow streets, the diverse ancient quarter. After our day of touring Hanoi, we have a full-day excursion to Ha Long Bay, a breathtaking waterway with 3,000 islands. While here, we take a boat ride and partake in a lunch of local seafood specialties. The next afternoon, we fly to Da Nang. We spend 3 nights staying at the Hotel Hyatt Regency Da Nang, a contemporary resort property which is located on a private white sand beach at the foot of the Marble Mountains. Then we travel to Hoi An for a walking tour to see the low tiled roofed houses lining narrow streets, the Japanese covered bridge pictured here, and the Chinese communal houses. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Hoi An's Old Town is a charming car-free pedestrian zone. This evening we enjoy a cooking class, lesson, and dinner. While in the region, we visit the nearby farming community to see everyday life of local farmers. The next day, after driving for 2.5 hours, we arrive at the ancient imperial city of Hue. Our home for the next 2 nights is the famous Saigon Morin Hotel, built in 1901, and it is the oldest hotel in the city. Located in the city center, this colonial-style hotel blends old world charm with traditional Vietnamese hospitality. While in Hue, we explore the imperial city where emperors lived with their families. That is now a UNESCO site. This next morning, we cruise along the Perfume River to Thian Mu Pagoda, a Buddhist monastery that ranks among the city's oldest. We visit the tomb of Ming Mang with its pavilions and courtyards modeled after the Ming tombs of China, as well as the tombs of Tu Duc, a gem of royal architecture. Saying goodbye to Hue, we depart early for a flight to Saigon. Upon arrival in Saigon, we drive 3.5 hours to the Mekong Delta. We spend 2 nights at the Victoria Con Tho Resort Hotel that sits on the banks of the Hua River, an estuary of the Mekong River, amid beautiful tropical gardens. With its tributaries covering over 15,000 square miles of southwestern Vietnam, the Mekong supplies half the country's rice and fish. We have an opportunity to witness the bustling floating vegetable market on board sampans, flat-bottom wooden boats. After lunch at a local restaurant, we continue on by coach to Saigon. Our final stop on the journey is Saigon, also known as Ho Chi Minh City, where we spend 3 nights. Our hotel is the Sofitel Saigon Plaza, which is designed with a blend of modern French and Vietnamese influences and is located in the heart of the city. Our first day in Saigon is spent touring the historical museum, the presidential palace, Jade Emperor Pagoda, pictured here, and the Ben Thanh Market. That evening, we attend a traditional water puppet show. On our last day on tour, we visit the Chu Chi tunnels, the infamous underground network from which North Vietnamese forces operated in wartime. This program offers a 5-day post-tour extension to Cambodia, where we discover the amazing temples and statuary from the Angkoran Empire, and also the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh. Vietnam is home to 2 wonderful cuisines, traditional Vietnamese and Vietnamese-influenced French. In the north, pho dishes are common, noodle soup with meat, chicken, or vegetables. In the south, you'll find rice pancake dishes. Rice, of course, is common throughout the country, as are spring rolls and small baguettes, a variation on the French tradition. Thank you so much for your attention, and we look forward to traveling with you next year in 2021.
Are there any questions for Kate and her fabulous 4 trips for next year?
How much does the Dalmatia tour cost?
Let's see. We'll have to switch to my So right now we have pre-registration open for that tour, and I can tell you what those costs are. I just have too many screens open. It is very popular. Croatia and that part of the world has, in the past few years, particularly increased in popularity. So right now, if you were flying out of Houston, which is often where we advertise our tours, the total cost is estimated to be $5,884 per person. That is based on double occupancy and does include flight. Different cities, the gateway, the lowest price is out of Boston or New York, and those would be 400 less, so 5,484.
And what is the single supplement?
For that tour, it is 1,395.
And if you wanted to do your own airfare because you have mileage or something like that, do you get a credit?
Correct. So if you were purchasing this without air, the cost would be 4,395 because our costs for flights also include airline taxes, which can be somewhat significant. So it would be the 4,395 plus the single supplement.
Which is still $1,395.
Correct. That is not tied to the airfare.
Thank you.
Thank you. I recognize at least one name, especially from the Rice video of the participants here. So I'm open to other questions. And I hope everyone is doing well from wherever they are Zooming in from, whether it's weather conditions or COVID. This 2020 is not the year I think any of us expected.
You're welcome to put your questions in the chat or come off mute.
I am looking forward to next year too, Meg, and I'm hoping it's going to be a different year than 2020. But I think travel, and I thank Shannon for all the work she's done, because putting these together is so much, and this one had to be rescheduled because of technical difficulties with Zoom last week. So it's nice to be able to dream about travel when we can't get there. And I see, okay, a question about pre-registration. So maybe I'll turn this one over to Shannon, the best way to pre-register.
So that is a change that we have recently made, where all registrations will now take place with the tour operator. Before, you would send in your form and check or credit card information to us, and then we would get that to Kate at Odysseys Unlimited. We are now cutting out the middleman of us having any sort of money flow through us or any sort of procedure like that. All of that will be taking place with Kate and Odysseys. Obviously, you're welcome to reach out to us with any questions, or if you don't know where to go or how to go or what to do it, please come to me. I'm here, I'm ready to type, I'm ready to answer the phones, but you will register with Kate. So if you wanna talk about that.
And I will put in the chat the link. That's the link to the Dalmatia trip. So right now it is in what we call pre-registration status. The pricing that I mentioned though is final pricing. But basically this means that you sign up for the tour, and when all the final details are ready, which would be outlined in a brochure, we will call you and say, do you wish to confirm your participation? And then we'll send you the new the brochure. This is a pre-registration right now, but that link works. And let's see, it's, you know, all of our trips are very they tend to be a little bit longer. They said, if you haven't traveled with Odysseys, our tour directors, I think, really help bring a special touch to the experience you have, because having that insight from someone who lives every day in the country or countries you're touring, I feel it adds, when I've taken trips, you take away something more than just all the information about the sites you visit, which is crucial too. But I've always appreciated our tour directors and the knowledge they impart.
Good morning, Kate. My name is Roberta Yang. I'm in Los Angeles. How are you?
I'm fine, Roberta. Thank you for joining so early.
Yes, well, it was a little bit of an effort, but I'm glad to do this, and I'm really so pleased that Rice has reached out to its alumni group this way, and I'm certainly trying to take advantage of it for the first time. But I'm also very apprehensive about the pandemic, and assuming there's not an acceptable vaccine to me by the time this comes along next spring, I would like to know what your cancellation policies have been. I'm a lawyer, I can't help it. And I need to know what your track record was last year with your tours that canceled because of the pandemic. Did your people get 100% refund from Odyssey?
Sure, Roberta. Thank you for your question. And I think it's on everybody's mind. So it's great that you put it forward. So let me start with 21 since you asked. So right now, any trip that you book for 21, the deposit is fully refundable up until 95 days from departure. So that means it is a risk-free deposit, and at 95 days is when we ask for final payment. So that's the point where you can say, you know what, I don't feel that the vaccine is ready, or I'm ready to travel, or for whatever reason. So we do anticipate that we will be making any decisions about canceling or not operating a tour in 21 at that 95-day mark.
Okay. All right.
Things, as you know, we've had to be flexible and adaptable in COVID, so it's possible it could change, but right now, the way we're planning to operate going into 21 is at 95 days, we're going to make that decision.
Okay.
At that point, as I said, your deposit is fully refundable. We have a committee working on safety protocols currently. I have provided Shannon with, it's sort of a 2-page, what we imagine will happen. As I said, this may be more stringent than what will actually need to happen when we start operating tours, but this is what we're envisioning now. So it covers everything about face masks and cleaning and things like that. So I'm sure Shannon can point you to that or send that to you if you have questions. But to answer essentially safety is the most important thing. We stopped operating tours in March, and we won't be operating tours. We just received the official notice that we've canceled our November tours. I fully expect our December tours of this year will be canceled.
It's too bad.
It is too bad, but I think, it's necessary, and we try to always treat our customers the way we would like to be treated. And so I think we feel there's still too much uncertainty right now for any trips to operate in 2020.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. To answer the last part of your question. Yeah. So this year, our tours it was done in a variety of ways. Okay. So for the majority of our tours, we canceled outside of final payment, which was 95 days. Once we got to the point of, I think it was in mid-March, we canceled all of our tours through May 31st. And then since then, we've been doing it on a rolling basis, but before final payment. So in those instances, we have given a full refund of the deposit. Some of our earlier tours, when it was in March or April, we did issue a credit for a future tour. But I have to say, almost all of those, we ended up later issuing a refund if we canceled the tour, which we did. So there are some people who have a future tour credit with us,
Okay.
but I would say the vast majority receive full refunds
Okay.
for their tours.
All right. I would think in a situation where the tour operator canceled, for example, within the 95-day window, that we should be able to expect a 100% refund. I'm not interested in a credit. I want a refund. So-
Yes, no, there's
Yeah.
nothing, how to best phrase it. How we operated this year is a signal for how we will operate next year.
Okay.
So we were, I think, very generous in offering refunds to people. They said the only people who received those future tour credits, it was in the height of, March and April, where things were very, very opaque. We're in a different place now. So as a company, we will be operating differently, but the majority of people did receive refunds.
Yeah. Am I not correct that Odyssey was featured in the New York Times article critical of the travel credits that you gave initially to your early customers? Isn't that
No, I don't believe
some other
so.
company?
I believe it was another company, only because our marketing team always forwards anything positive or negative, and I would have remembered that. And as a daily New York Times reader, I don't remember that. But if you find the link, feel free to send it to Shannon, but I'm about 99% sure it wasn't us.
Okay. I am new to group travel at this stage of my life, so I'm a little apprehensive, having all my life been felt very free to travel on my own. I no longer feel the need to be so, to take so much time with all the logistics that are required. So I want to try out group travel in a small group way. So I appreciate your patience with my questions. Thank you.
Of course. And I, as someone who's done a lot of traveling prior to my job at Odysseys, I have to say that it is so nice to, the logistics piece is very nice to not have to worry about that. But I also really appreciate the educational component, which Rice is known in their Traveling Owls program for that to be such a core component that, you could read about all of these places on your own, but I know I'm not going to do that. So learning about it from people who know it and often are doing research on this subject is for me one of the great highlights of taking an Odysseys tour.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, this is Earl Van Zandt. I'd just like to comment. I took the Turkey tour with Odysseys back in 2010, and aside from the problem getting there, getting around the Iceland volcano cloud, we finally got there. The trip was wonderful.
Oh, great. So you were on our inaugural trip with Rice.
Yes.
That's so exciting. I'm glad that you had a great trip. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was also a little inconvenienced. I had a walking boot on one foot because of a foot injury, but even then I was able to get around all the terrain.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's impressive because there's a good deal of walking and ancient sites, and I bet you felt it by the end of the tour.
Hi, I'm another Turkey trip veteran, and we went in 2013, and to my husband and my eternal regret, it was the best trip, but to our eternal regret, we did not go on the extension. I was just wondering if we happen to be in the area, is there any way this year we can tack on to the extension?
I'm sorry. I wish you've spoken so beautifully and enthusiastically about your experience on the Rice video, Wanda. I recognize you from, I think, 2 or 3 years ago the video was. So, but unfortunately, the way our trips are structured, we can't do that. So I wish I can tell you, if you want to go and look at the itinerary and recreate it for the extension, you're welcome to do that.
Right, right. No,
I know.
I figured that was not possible, but I thought, it's worth a shot. I'll just
It-
throw it out there.
Always worth asking, always worth
But
asking.
it truly was the best trip. And just, I have to put this plug in for Odysseys, is that some of the places that we went to, I would never have known about. I would not have gone to on our own if we had tried to do the trip on our own. And same with the India trip that we've taken with you, and the Spain-Portugal trip with you, several places where we just thought, why are we going there? And they turned out to be just amazing places. And that's a huge advantage to taking some of these cruises. So that's it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Wanda, I appreciate it.
Kate, can you put in the links for the other trips too?
Sure, actually, let me just toggling between the two screens. I will do that right now.
While Kate is doing that, I did also want to let you know that they are linked on our website on the upcoming trips page. If you click on the title of the trip, it links out to these pre-registration files.
Yes, those are basically the links I'm sending, but I'm happy to.
I just know the chat goes away after this Zoom meeting, so if you don't get the links there, just know that you have them on our website.
Great, thank you. And I'm just putting them as we're speaking up, but I'm not always fast enough, so I'll try to get them all. And then there will be brochures available for each of the trips.
Yeah, I had tried clicking on it, but what it was doing was downloading instead of instead of linking, and so I didn't realize that I still had that access.
Okay. Yes, it does. It takes you to a PDF directly, and I think that's where the confusion is, because you have to click on the actual trip itself. And once you click on it, it takes you to these PDFs I'm sending the links for. And then here's the last one.
Unless you're doing it on your phone, in which case it just sends the PDF to a file.
I know, it downloads, but you can always, if you go to the Rice Traveling Owl site, you can get
Got
to
it.
Are there any other questions right now? If not, and you're like me and your question will pop up as soon as we end the meeting, you are welcome to reach out to Kate at Odysseys directly, or always you can email travelingowls@rice.edu, and I'll make sure that if I don't have the answer, I'll reach out to Kate and we'll get you one as soon as possible. I want to thank Kate and all of you guys for spending your afternoon, or excuse me, your morning with us. And if there's anything else you need, again, please reach out, travelingowls@rice.edu. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you to everyone.